And he was like, go straight to hell. And he kept buttering his cookies till the day he died.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margee McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Margee, I'm thrilled to be with you right now. Thrilled.
Me too.
Yeah. And thrilled that everyone is out there listening. Thank you for joining us. We're stoked. Yes. Wow, we were so chatty before we sat down, and I just fully went blank.
No, you sent us into this with this like lovely meditation of like, let's just be present. Let's enjoy our time together. Let's remember we love each other. And let's just, say what's honestly on our hearts. And so I just feel like so centered and peaceful. I'm like, what else is there to say?
You're
like,
right.
What a gorgeous way to launch into the Real Housewives of Orange County. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
I'm like, and our work here is complete. We are grateful. Yes. We are centered. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Except we have to get through a flag football episode before we can say good night.
Like, why did 3/4 of this episode have to be flag fucking football? It wasn't that interesting.
It was, well, I mean, we'll get there.
There were some zingers that I liked, but
a couple, but it's also like, I don't need to watch these ladies take themselves seriously.
Hell no.
I appreciate the editors doing all the work of like putting in player names and stats and stuff, but I also didn't think they were funny enough. And I was like, I'm bored. The graphic at the bottom of the screen, we could have skipped it. You know what I mean? This could have been a 30-minute episode and that would have been great. But
the irony of Tamra Judge being on Team Love while flipping off the camera or the opposing team, I was all, if I'm an editor, I got to have some fun too. Because
she's the one who suggested that name, right? I was like, who are you? Right?
Tamra is the steward, captain, cruise director of the SS Full Hip, the SS Clueless, the whatever, insert, she's just so...
She's like captain of the USS Punchdown.
Yes.
I feel like this whole episode was everybody punching down. Everybody whose financial situation is stable was like, Jen, you're terrible. Gina and Emily just like taking shots every direction they can. Everyone punching down on Shannon, Alexis and Tamra. Like, it was just a big punch down fest, and it was they're so unpleasant.
Tamra punching down on her fucking dog, just being a dog. That was the most triggering thing for me after that scene.
Eating coyote poop?
We'll get there. Yes.
Yeah.
She said, ew, don't be a dork. And I was all...
Is that what she said?
That's what she said. We'll get there. This is season 8. Oh, go ahead, please. Yes.
No, I got nothing. Obviously, I don't know the title. Help.
Oh, I do. I'm here for us. Season 18, episode 3 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. This episode was Red Flags and Football. Ugh. Not their best.
No.
Not but that anyone asked me.
It's just the episode. It was...
Right. There were some things, like I was such a fool taking copious notes for the flag football. Cut to Shannon and Emily at the boudoir shoot, and I was like, "This is what I should be focusing."
Yes,
but
how could we know?
We couldn't know.
I literally gave up when the flag football scene happened. I was like, "Oh, so we got 2 good episodes this season, and now it's over."
Totally.
And then, like you said, as soon as that. Honestly, after the game ended, I thought the post-football pizza party conversation was interesting. Anyways, I'm talking vaguely about nothing. Can I just ask one question?
Please.
We are on episode 3, right? Of
yes.
Real Housewives of Orange County, and there's no taglines yet?
We haven't even seen an opening yet. We keep doing this thing where
we slide into the episode from the one before, and I'm like, that coffee date, Gina storming off, wasn't as interesting to me as like, I want my taglines.
I want my taglines too. What the fuck? Yeah, where are the taglines?
It just feels like there's so many people on that cast, and it feels like it's been forever. And episode 3, I was ready for taglines. I didn't get them. What are you going to do?
You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Reddits afterward and I'm going to
Thank you.
see what's doing. And I'll let you know next time.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
It's a long wait, and the more they make us wait, the more anticipation builds and the more disappointing the taglines are ultimately going to be. So
like, I get it that I think it's their pattern now to not do the taglines on the premiere of whatever season, but I feel like we should have gotten them by now. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is episode 3, no tags.
And instead it starts with Gina storming out of coffee with Jen in her possibly rag and bone hat.
In her possibly rag and bone newspaper hat, yes.
And then we get their simultaneous phone calls to decompress after this coffee date. And Gina calls Emily. By the way, Emily, I turned on her completely in this episode. I just thought she was so gratuitously mean. It was really unpleasant. And I'm sorry that you're insecure and I'm sorry that you have obsession going on. But like that, there was a lot of that in this episode too, of excusing terrible behavior by talking about what's going on in your own life. Gina did it too by saying like, I'm sorry I said mean things to you, but Trav is moving out. First of all, no, he's not. You kicked him out. And second of all, that's just not an excuse. You can do both things. You can have hard things going on in your life and also be considerate of other people. You're in your like 40s and 50s, ladies. Like,
I agree.
Right?
I picked up on both of those things. No, you're not. And I hate it. Okay, but maybe Margee. Damn it. I'm just fucking waterworks over here all the time. Like, none of us are perfect.
I know.
But you're right.
My problem is, and this is my problem, is last season I assigned Emily as perfect. I was like, she's the people's princess. She's one of us in this group of idiots and assholes and superficial dickheads. And this episode, she was a superficial dickhead. She was an asshole, and she knew it. She's so smart. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly how mean she's being. And I was, it feels like this is what I've worked in therapy on for all these years, is like trying to identify the whole person. I have a tendency to like mine for gold, as my therapist calls it. And I look for what's great in people, and then I only look at that, and I lose sight of the total picture. And I feel like last season I mined for Emily Gold, and I found it. And then this episode, I was like, right. There's a whole person. And I don't like all of that. I didn't like her this episode.
I
very
didn't either.
mean.
I didn't either. Come on, Emily. But yeah, I mean, yes, we'll get there. I feel like the most epic line, or a top 3 line of this season, is like when Jen was talking to Shannon. She's like, I didn't expect this from someone, a woman who lived in a casita. I thought you'd understand. I was like, oh, shit.
I loved that. As a woman who's lived in a casita, I thought she would understand. I was like, put it on sweatpants.
Put it on sweatpants. Yes, exactly. And then
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
They cut to Gina, who's applauding herself for like, well, I don't rely on my ex. And, I downsized to a casita. And I wanted to ask you, I forgot to look it up, but I do believe that casita situation was completely different from Jen's situation. If memory serves, Gina and Matt rotated into the casita. They still had the massive house with the kids securely in a space that they knew and whatever. Jen is in a situation where Gina's acting like she moved to a casita with her 3 kids and they all shared one small studio space until she could get on. Bullshit. You had a huge mansion that never made it on camera because your kids were in it, and Matt was in court for doing something unspeakable to you and destabilizing your family in ways that, like, you're obviously still mad about, and that's why you yelled at Jen, and that's unacceptable. And I just thought, I don't think this casita comparison is cool.
I agree. And I know we're like kind of jumping around, but who cares? We'll just skip it later. But Jen, I really am assuming this. I feel like I don't say I'm assuming it like, oh, I'm assuming I shouldn't do this. I'm assuming because I don't know what other, it seems like it's logical to me. I have a feeling that she went from her parents' house straight to being married to Will. Her parents took care of everything, and then Will took care of everything. I don't think it was a benevolent
decision on Will's part. I think that there was some control over Jen that he was wielding, just like Ryan is doing now. I fully believe that it is part of his toxic personality. I don't think he's helping her from a place of altruism. He knows that she can't leave. She can't leave.
Keeping her, like, I did appreciate the women for talking to Jen about, like, it's time to learn this stuff now. And I appreciated Jen for saying, like, I know that I don't know anything. And that confessional where she's like, I've never had a credit card in my name. She's never worked a proper job. She has no credit. She doesn't, like, she's financially illiterate and she knows it, and has moved for her life assuming that that would be covered by the men in her life. And it has until this very moment. The eviction was the moment where it fell apart. And these girls are talking to her like she should have it together today. Like, another moment that I hated is when Emily was like, well, you can take him to court. I'm like, the reason she's in the position she is in, the reason the eviction happened is because the court system is so slow. You can't just walk into court and be like, I need money, and have the court make a judge. Like, it's years long process. Like, and she doesn't understand clearly anything about money or credit, or Gina couldn't run a credit check on her. She doesn't exist, you know? And it's not a hopeless situation. It's just they are so impatient and righteous with her. Like,
so righteous.
When Gina was like, why didn't you call me? I'm like, this is why. Because if she calls you, she gets called Malibu broke Barbie. She gets called a squatter. This is what, when you are honest about your financial insecurity, this is what you get in return. A lot of yelling, a lot of judgment, and no help, no real support. Just a lot of, like, pity or dismissal or you idiot. What did Gina call her? Ding dong. It's just like, thanks for a lady. And she said it. She's like, if something happens with Ryan, I and my 3 kids are homeless with no car. And that could not be more true. And for everyone to have something to say about her other than, how can I support you, is some real bullshit. It just shows exactly who these people are. They're just glad not to be her. They're happy to snark at her and then go home to their lives until theirs falls apart, you know?
I agree. And, like, I remember last episode or the episode before last, I mean, we only had 2 before this, so it was the last few weeks. I was like, well, why didn't she just move into a place that wasn't that expensive? Okay. In this episode, we learned that she didn't know that Will wasn't going to be able to pay her until he was like, I can't pay you.
And he had been paying for 3 years. So she was under the impression that this was a steady gig.
Exactly.
That she wasn't under threat.
So why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she move into that house? And, you know, like, if that was the agreement they had, then that's where she was going to move. So learning that, I'm like, damn, Ramona, like, you didn't know the whole story and you threw a judgment. And that's not cool. I find the position that she's in to be utterly terrifying. And I don't know how she's on this show other than the fact that she's hopefully getting paid.
She is.
I hope she's getting paid.
Absolutely.
Like, I hope she's not even getting, I hope she's getting, like, I don't know what the going rate for housewives is. Why do I feel like we learned over the course of the years that Erica Jane earned $600,000 a season? I'm sure a newcomer like Jen isn't earning $600,000 a season, but, you know,
depending on how many episodes, I think they get a per episode fee somewhere.
They do,
you know, in the 30 to 50. You can't do less than that for talent, I don't think. And she's in her second year, and she's got a major driving storyline. Like, and Ryan is on as well, so he's getting paid too. All of her kids. God. But it's money.
Ryan getting
she
paid.
Needs income.
This is like the only job that he has that's actually above fucking water. Wait, above ground? What's
above
that term?
Board?
Thank you. Above board. This is he's earning a paycheck on this show. She's showing up for work. He's on a call sheet. No one wants him, but he's still showing up to, like, earn his money.
Yeah.
Other than making it through. God damn it. I knew the interpreter's name and I don't have it in front of me.
I don't know. I've already erased it. My brain can only, like, there was a whole presidential change, and my brain can only retain like certain news items for a short period of time. My point is I've forgotten all the names involved in the gambling, embezzlement, whatever. I don't even know what the case was anymore. Whatever.
Hopefully we'll get a Netflix docuseries out of it, or a 30 for
sure.
30. Ooh, on ESPN.
We'll probably get a bunch.
Documentaries.
There'll be a terrible Hulu one that will come out like immediately.
And I'll watch it.
Me too. And then ESPN will take their time and do a good one. And
yeah.
We got good stuff ahead of us.
I will watch almost any documentary about LA just for the B-roll.
Yeah. It's again, the Hills initiated that beautiful in that era. It was like crane shots, because there were no drones, but all of those beautiful crane and aerial shots of the city. It's just like, yeah,
dude,
LA is idyllic from those heights.
It is.
Like the deeper you get down into, streets and neighborhoods, the more you see the reality of it. But it really is. I mean, the coast is just gorgeous.
It's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
The downtown skyline. I just love being able to recognize that U.S. Bank, man. Anyway, that's not why anybody called to hear me be fucking homesick for LA for the millionth time since we launched this podcast. But anywho, I don't know what even there is to say. We learn a little bit about Katie. She was very into figure skating when she was a little girl. That was her adventures in athleticism. Heather is in on her own shtick, apparently there's no designer referee shirt. Polyester, sad. So I'm going to put it over a fashiony outfit and give it some flavor. I'm all, bitch, if you use an entire shaker of Old Bay, you're still not going to have no flavor. Shut up.
She looked like Slender Man, when
She's
she was like
idiot.
standing there making calls. I'm like, you just look like a weird, evil tree. The other Heather moment that really got me is they chose their teams, then they went to like make T-shirts with their team names on them. And Tamra and Alexis sort of engage Katie, the new girl, in conversation. And she's talking about how she's adjusting to her move to Newport Beach. And they ask her about her kids. And she lists off all of her kids. And Heather just asks out of nowhere, she goes, "Are all of your kids with your husband?" And I was like, why would you make that assumption? Based on what? And Katie, of course, was like, no, one of them lives with my ex, but the others are with me. I am a mother. And you're a mother whether they live with you or not. But like, why would Heather make that assumption? What was that? Were you offended?
Then she's like, oh, great. Oh, I'm so fucking offended.
She seemed surprised when Katie was like, no, they live with me. And she was like, oh, really? As like, what does Katie look like to you?
It's not also like, I would never ask somebody.
No.
I would never ask me like, oh, are all of these kids with one person, or do they have, are there different parents? Are
and why would you assume they're not with? Why would you just assume they're not? That all of them are not with her? It was just such a wild, evil.
It was
swing.
disgusting.
I couldn't believe how gracefully Katie fielded it, because I think I said "what" out loud. I was like, what?
Yeah,
like where did that come from?
It was
weird.
Palpably disgusting, and so I wonder if, see, here I go. I'm not on a full dick ride for Heather. Absolutely fucking not. Never in a million goddamn years. Not even if I'm stranded with no ride, no phone to call a lift, no car, nobody to pick me up. I will not ride for her or ask her for a ride. My point is, did producers say, hey, Heather, why don't you ask Katie if all of her kids are from the same dad? Or is she really that terrible of a person to just...
I thought the question was asking, do they all live with your husband, with your ex? Not are they all from the same husband? But either way,
I thought
it's
that she was saying, are they all
fuck.
from the same, do they all have the same dad?
But then why did she answer one of them lives with the dad full time. I should watch that
Oh,
moment
I don't
again.
know. I
think
should
it
watch it
really
again,
it
too.
spun my head out so bad that I was like, what
Me
just
too.
happened? And then I never
Yeah.
went back to find out. But
And then we blanked it out.
but
Right.
it's the same takeaway, which is like Heather is just so judgmental and inappropriate and awful.
She's
And whatever
awful.
producer said to her, she's been doing the show for 700 years now. She is an autonomous human being.
You're
You
right.
just don't do that to,
You're
I'm
right.
sorry, but I can't stop seeing it. And I saw it with Sutton too, again in this episode. I'm like, there is a rare woman of color on the screen, and you're going to assume that none of her kids live with her or that they're all from 700 different dads. Like, why can't you take a breath and just be like, maybe I should reconsider this question altogether or ask it in a more thoughtful way? Just absolutely not. Just like let it rip. Who cares? I don't know. It feels maybe that's my Orange County like hackles going up of like, are you all racist?
I mean, I don't know about all, and like
Or
listen,
implicitly
and when we're
biased.
right,
Right?
and when we're
That's-
talking about Orange County, we're talking about like about this Orange County. There is a
Sorry,
lot
Tamra,
of,
Vicky, this cast, I should say.
I mean, if any of the Gen Zs that live in Orange County are listening, please know that we're talking about the people that you're fighting against right now too. I am thrilled and champion y'all's efforts for turning Orange County purple. And it's creeping towards blue. And I am thrilled because of it.
Absolutely.
Isn't Katie Porter Orange County?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not talking about Katie Porter's Orange County. We're talking about,
Wait, is she, I think she is.
I think she
I
is
don't know.
too. Yeah.
I shouldn't speak with any authority. In my
I shouldn't
head,
either.
that's where it's living. But I don't
too.
trust my filing system in my own brain sometimes. So
Listen, if anybody out there is coming to us for like hardcore facts like this,
skip
just
it.
check your score. Check
No,
your sources.
we are
right?
feelings, not facts.
Oh my God, we are. Listen, we try to put the facts in too. I love
We
a
do.
fact. I
Oh,
know you
for
love a
sure.
fact, but
100%.
sorry, I just don't know if I
We
can.
lead
you know,
with feelings. You know,
We lead with
Facts are
feelings,
secondary,
yes.
Yes.
we lead with feelings because as children we were not encouraged, invited, something else to do anything with feelings. We
True.
just stuff them down. So God damn it, we're making up for lost time. Let's see. There's a lot of back and forth going on from table to table. She told someone they had sex 4 times. She's going to my gym. Like, I don't fucking care.
Could not
I don't
care
know.
less about the gym drama. Just do not care.
No,
Don't care how
don't
many
give a
times a day
shit.
Alexis and John have sex. Don't care.
Gross. Would rather
about
not
any
know.
of it.
Also, don't believe her.
I just wrote, I cannot get invested in this shit. I'm like, this is why you broke up. No need to rehash it. Why? She's like, why did John Jansen? It's because that's why you broke up, because he's a bad guy. I don't know. Of course he did this. Why are we surprised? He sucks. Anyways.
He sucks. And he's a clout chaser, Shannon. That's what everyone told you. And when he told you that he wanted to end the relationship or that he wasn't comfortable with all of like how public she was, it was a fucking lie. It was a lie, or he wouldn't be with Alexis Bellino.
Well, I came into a new conspiracy theory in this episode where I think
Go
Alexis
on.
Bellino doesn't really like John Jansen. I think she's dating John Jansen to be on the show because it's been 3 episodes now. I've learned nothing about Alexis. Her whole storyline is agitating Shannon, talking about John Jansen, sex with John Jansen, the gym with John Jansen, the dog that looks exactly like Shannon's. It really is like, you're not here to be a whole experience. You're here to be Shannon's thorn in her side. And I think that's why you're dating John Jansen. That's what I think.
Oh my God.
I think
she's a gremlin. She's being a gremlin to Shannon.
Yeah.
She's fully gremlining Shannon.
And
Holy
I think
shit.
But I'm also like, if my conspiracy theory is right, then John Jansen is getting used and I'm here for it.
I just smirked. You can't
Yeah.
see it, but I smirked. Yes. I love that theory. You know
It's-
what? You heard it here first on A Therapeutic Dose.
It just
Yes.
feels like Alexis is offering nothing except John Jansen content, which keeps her storyline centered. Because this is Shannon's season. We're coming off her DUI. We're watching her emerge in this new body from this old
Yep.
relationship. She's
Yep,
about to get
yep, yep.
sued for a facelift that he paid for. Alexis will always be centered in that if she keeps bringing up his name. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
We already talked about how Jen spelled things out for Gina as far as why she was in the house that she thought she could afford at the time. It's because she could afford it at the time, because Will was paying for it at the time. And then it stopped, probably suddenly to everybody. So, and Gina is not choosing to be sympathetic at all. My theory is that after all the rumblings happened last year about like, why is Gina on the show? Get rid of Gina. Gina's dead weight. Gina is probably like, oh, I'm going to fucking get my orange. God damn it. I need this money. I need my real estate agency money. I'm going to do whatever I can to stay on this show and be relevant. So maybe that's why she's being such a see you next Tuesday. I don't know.
I think she's just glad not to be the poor little poor girl anymore. And instead of being kind about it, she's just being an absolute asshole. And I thought Katie, everybody said it at a certain point. Katie said it, Tamra later said it in a confessional, but Katie said Jen was surviving. She didn't know what to do. And she's like, I can see both sides, but I don't think it's anyone's fault. And I think like that's the answer to this question.
Totally.
And I'm sorry, but Gina kept saying, you know, Jen says, if anyone understands being in a hard spot, Gina, it's you. And Gina goes, yeah, that's why I helped you. And in my opinion, I feel like helping her would have been not putting her in a house she can't afford. If you're a real estate agent and you understand the market, if you're a person who's gone through a divorce and you're telling her she should have downsized, why didn't you tell her that when she said, I need a house?
Exactly.
Why did you show her a big house that's outside of her price range? Why didn't you show her a casita for her and her kids? Gina will just
Why didn't you run a credit check?
I mean, Gina will take no ownership of anything.
None.
And the same happens in her breakup with Travis. Well, she's like, what if it's a mistake? And he's like,
I have a lot to say about that too.
Oh, it was just awful. But it's just a running theme for her of like blaming everyone else for stuff that like everyone says, it's not anybody's fault. Everybody has a part and it happened. That's it.
Yep. Agreed. I was very happy and my heart felt good seeing Tamra show up as much as she could to kind of go to bat for Jen. Like, hey, you guys, I think I see what happened here. Let me spell it out for you. She married young, you know, and all of that stuff we talked about before. Will control the finances, all the stuff we talked about at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, she went from dad to Will to Ryan.
Dad to Will
She's
to
never
Ryan,
had to
right.
look at a bank statement in her life and doesn't want to. And who could blame her? If you can get through your life without having to do that, more power to you. But this is the risk you run, is if something goes wrong and then you're completely ill-equipped. Like she said, I'm learning things at age 46 that most people learn in their 20s.
I mean, it's
daunting as fuck,
it is.
Especially
It
with
is.
3 kids. You know, it's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot.
I mean, this is my secret shame. And I'll talk about it right now. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I have earned a little bit of my own money since, you know, we moved to the Bay Area. Not a lot, not consistently. My husband is the breadwinner. We moved here for his jobs, and when we met, I said, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't know that I was going to have a hard time being financially dependent on a man. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying these words out loud.
But look, I don't, what's different is how I respond to that is like, and if something were to go left, you would find your way through it and all of your friends would support you. We wouldn't be like, you depended on a man. It's like, that was the deal in this marriage. Before you guys got engaged, this was a big conversation.
Yeah.
And also, why not? While you can, do it. And then Jen, all of these women have hit the skids in ways they didn't anticipate. Gina, Tamra, like everybody. So life happens to everyone, and I don't think there's any shame in earning your money being in a partnership. Yeah.
No, I understand that, and my mad respect, kudos, props, all of it to moms that work full time and also mom and manage the household. Like, I don't know how you fucking do it. I don't fucking know how you do that. I don't know how you do that and stay sane. I don't know how you do that and don't like crash your car into other people on purpose every day. Where I relate to Jen is like, oh God, if something was to happen, I don't even know how I would access like, like, I don't know. I don't know where the shit is. I don't know what the passwords are. And it's like, it's humbling as hell. I got to get on that. I got to get on that.
It's worth doing. And it's also, but that's the right angle to take of like, what are the passwords? What do I need to know in case something were to happen?
But I feel like,
as opposed to like, these women telling her like, just get a job, just go into court. It's like when you have when you have 0 years of experience on your resume, because that's the life you signed up for with Will. What do you mean get a job? With what resume?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
She has to build a whole new life, and you can't, the word just do this or that to someone in that position is so harmful. It just,
I agree.
as I say,
agree.
I'm like, it just.
No, I think that what comes up for me is like the part where to think about the financial stuff in the bigger picture, it feels so daunting to me that I just want to put my head under a blanket. And the thing that's different about me and Jen, I mean, there's a lot of things that are different about me and Jen, but I'm saying like in this situation where I can relate to her is that I did earn all my own money up until we left Chicago in 2012. I just did not want to go back to the kind of work I was doing because it sucked my fucking soul. I also got to be around other people, which I realized is a big part of why I did enjoy working back when I was working, but I didn't want to go back. And Josh was very supportive. He's like, let's just chill and, do what you want to do. And I was able to focus on acting. And when I got to the Bay Area, I got an agent and I was doing auditions and I was booking jobs here and there. Nothing that I would have been able to like support myself or a family on, but I was doing it. And I'm grateful that I had the space and the time to do that. That was amazing. But I knew how to work from the time, I've been working since I was not even 16 years old, like whatever the work permits were for people under 16. So like I could figure out how to pay my rent. I paid my rent up until I moved into Josh's house in San Diego after we got engaged. I found my apartment. I had a savings account. I like knew how to do all this shit. So I have that going for me. But now I would have a huge resume gap. And it scares the shit out of me. It scares the shit out of me. And to bring it back to this episode, and I know we're skipping around, this is not a linear take right now, but when Emily is talking to Shane in their bedroom and she's like, look, motherfucker, men your age die on the fucking golf course. I cannot tell you how many times in the last couple of years I've talked to Josh, like, go get a checkup, get your heart checked, do it. Because unfortunately, we know too many people who have left at a very young age when nobody ever suspected it. And I know that that's a fucking reality. I know it could happen. And it scares the shit out of me.
And it's worth doing everything to mitigate it.
100%.
But from my training as a death doula, like the goal is to do what you said, to get things in order so that you feel comfortable. If something were to happen, it's out of everyone's control.
Completely.
As my sponsor in my first program used to say, like, I could be hit by a bus tomorrow. You need to have 5 people in your life at all times who know everything that's going on with you. It can't just be me. And that's not obviously financially related, but like, anything could happen at any time. And trying to control outcomes like that is hard. Like doing everything we can to be responsible and all that is helpful. And maybe it's because what I'm going through with my own parents right now. It's like, you can lead a horse to water. And then they're adults and they have to decide what to do. In Al-Anon, they say when you mention something once, it's a suggestion. Anything beyond that is control and manipulation. And that is really hard to apply to a mom who is having cognitive decline. it's really hard to be like, this is what's suggested. Please do it. Like, I just have to like, you know, let it, you know, people know what's available to them and they make their choices. And I don't know what those outcomes will be. I don't know what those outcomes will be.
I won't either.
And it's like, I always share about my granddaddy who had congestive heart failure. He was diagnosed with it and they said to, you know, elongate your life. Why don't you stop putting butter on your cookies? And he was like, go straight to hell. And he kept buttering his cookies till the day he died. And he lived like 10 years beyond, you know what I mean? It's like nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows. So all we can do is make suggestions and then I don't know what.
I mean, what was that thing we heard over and over in 12-step rooms? You plan and God laughs. Like what was the...
I hate that shit. I don't like
I do too.
I hate it.
I do too. I do
yes,
too.
But it that's in also all those like live, laugh, love stores that you hate of like...
Yeah, you're right.
You make plans, God laughs.
You make plan, God laughs. Yeah, right. Like, dude, no. Come on. You're right. Yeah, like when Heather is saying, well, let's change that now. It's like, bitch, you flip multi-million-dollar homes as a hobby.
Right.
Fuck you. Fuck your Alexander Wang confessional look.
And your private jet to take your kid to school.
And your private jet to take your kid to school. That you think is amazing. You think that that's great. You think it's hilarious. Oh, we're just, what? Not everyone takes their kid to their private college on a fucking private jet? Well, I can drink some Vouv. Suck it, bitch.
And it's also, it's what you're saying. You know, like if Jen had shared this information with you, you would have done what you just did, which would be to say like, you know, when I think about the big financial picture, I want to get under a blanket and hide too. I totally get it. So like, I'll get under that blanket with you and we will work our way out. Like, I'm here to support. Like, you would handle this so differently than like, let's fix it now. Just take him to court. You need a job that earns money. She's like, no, duh. Like, but you don't just go from like, knowing that to be so and then having that, you know, and that's where Emily was just so rude. And I appreciated Jen for being like, why are you being so critical? You know, and Emily had no answer. She said, just go to court. It's like, Emily, you're a lawyer.
You more than anyone.
She does know. She does know, but she thinks Jen is stupid. And so she just talked to her like she's stupid. Just go to court. That takes years. You can't just go to court. That's our whole problem. Anyways.
Yeah, you can't.
They call her a squatter, Gina, and I thought that was so rude.
It was abusive.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And inappropriate.
Yes.
It was abusive and inappropriate. And it was a low fucking blow. And I didn't know that Gina was capable of being such an asshole. That was an asshole thing to say.
And same with Emily, because Emily was like, well, you were. And it's like, yeah, I guess legally, if you really wanted to try that case, you could. But like, as Jen kept insisting, and I do believe her, she didn't move into this house expecting to default on payments. And I do believe that as the months went by that she couldn't pay, she just was paralyzed.
She's clearly paralyzed.
Yes.
She is so paralyzed.
So Gina being like, you burned me. She's like, I froze is what I did. I have 3 kids. I have no income. She said the only money I get is what Will gives to me. That's it. The yoga studio is a bust. Like, she has no assets. She has nothing. So everyone can, God, they're so mean.
And then at the end of the scene, Gina rationalizes her fucked up, terrible, disgusting behavior and words by saying, oh, I'm sorry. I've gone so hard on Jen because Travis is moving out.
Once again, it's just... He's not moving out. You kicked him out because you want your money for you and your kids.
Right.
After 4.5 years of being a family, you're like, I want to take mine on vacation and like not yours. She is so unlikable. Yuck.
Oh God. Yep. I don't know. Shall we move on to Emily and Shannon at Emily's boudoir photo shoot?
Sure.
Yeah. Unless you have anything else to say about flag football.
No.
Red flags and flag football.
I'll just say the award ceremony was so, again, Emily really lost me because there was the MVP that went to Gina, the least valuable player that went to Heather, and then the Tried award that they gave to Jen. And Emily, in her confessional, goes out of her way to be so rude and say, like, you tried to play the game, you tried to pay rent, you tried to drive a Range Rover, it didn't work out, here's your award. I'm like, wow, I hope nothing in your life ever goes wrong because, wow, you are the most intolerant, insensitive ass. Again, it's amazing the twists and turns that life will throw at people. And I've had people in my life who've talked to me like this, and then they've gotten handed some real doozies. And it's not that it's satisfying at all. It's really sad. She's
That's
not
what
immune.
makes you a better person than me.
No.
It's that I might enjoy it for a little while. I might enjoy seeing someone's. No, I'm serious. Like I no, there are some people that I'm just like people that I know, not even people that are abstract to me. Like politicians that are terrible. No one called for that. My point is that there are some people that I know, and this is even from like a long time ago, like people that I haven't seen in so fucking long, that if I was, listen, I don't want to hear that anyone has a terrible disease or nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'm saying like stuff that I could like talk shit about someone on a fucking show like this if I was a half Latina, half Jewish housewife on Real Housewives of Orange County. That's the kind of stuff. Dude, you're looking at me like, Ramona, I really don't think you would like it that much. I don't think you'd like it as much as you think you would.
Who knows? I just keep thinking of the things that have happened to people like Tamra. Like, your kid doesn't talk to you at all. Your child. That's what happened to Tamra.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrible. But that is also like, and yet you're still so mean to other people who suffer pain. Everyone needs to go to therapy because they are
I'm
working
just talking
out their...
about
Yeah.
people that you and I both know.
I know. I hear that.
You and I have both like talked about, and we've seen them like wax on for hours when it was inappropriate about how great everything was. And then lo and behold, reality hit them. And not in a way where anyone was dying or anyone anything, whatever. But it's like, oh, did that happen? And I was like, couldn't have happened to a better bitch. I'll tell you who I'm talking about after.
I know who you're talking about. I think, yeah. I hear that.
Yeah, like this scene had a lot for me because, hello, like I had / have an eating disorder, you know, like I also lived in Southern California. I was talking with one of my therapists last week, and I was talking to her about how transitioning into midlife and like becoming invisible is so much of a mind fuck. I think I was talking about like when I used to live in LA and now, and she was like, she's never lived in Southern California. And she's like, I can't imagine how much harder it is there. I'm not saying that Southern California is the worst place mentally or emotionally to go through midlife. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that when Emily said everyone in OC is really obsessed with being young and being fit, I would say that that's everywhere from, if you're south of the Grapevine, you're just, it's like they hand you your area code and then they hand you a little packet underneath it that's like, here's everything that we expect of you if you're a woman in Southern California. You can't get over this age. You can't be over this size. You can't do X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
And if you do, look out. And I'm talking like every subculture too. The punk rockers, the, you know, WeHoers, the beach people, like the valley people, like it's, you leave your house and you see it immediately. And I don't leave my house in the Bay Area and see it immediately. I definitely don't leave nowhere in Portland and see it pretty much anywhere. And what the patriarchy, what misogyny, and what white supremacy does to women from birth until death is some bullshit. But midlife is some real bullshit. And it's that much worse in Southern California. It's like on steroids there. Am I wrong?
I don't even know. And maybe that answers your question. Maybe I've become that invisible that I don't even know anymore. everything here goes back to the adage of like, nobody's ugly, you're just poor. There's so many ways to fix everything, and I have no problems with any of it. I always say, like, I'll be first in line the second it makes sense in my budget. But and I think it's important to feel
agree.
good about yourself. Like, I think that's
Absolutely.
lovely if there's access to stuff that makes you feel good. Like, but I don't know. It's, what I thought was so interesting about Emily here is as she was talking about this, she said she'd had a boudoir shoot when she was 40 pounds heavier, and she felt more confident then because now she's in a place of being terrified of backsliding. And I was like, this is why you go to therapy. This is why health is a mind, body, spirit experience. Like, you need a therapist to work with you on the weight loss so you don't become obsessed. And she might benefit from a 12-step room because this was that classic 12-step fear of losing what we have and not getting what we want. That
Totally
drives most people who are addicts, who are in relationships with addicts. That is a fear that most have in common, losing what we have and not getting what we want. And that's all I heard in everything she said. I have this now. Now I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. So now I'm obsessed with going to the gym. I'm avoiding my children. I'm putting bad food habits in their head. Like, that food scene was like, whoa.
It was triggering.
If your daughter knows how many hard-boiled eggs she's had after a workout, she has an eating disorder in the making. Like, that's crazy.
I mean,
like, oh boy.
I thought the exact same thing. If you spot it, you got it, man. Like, yeah, totally. My weight has yo-yoed pretty much since my early 20s. Maybe even earlier. I don't remember because I'm trying to relook at my childhood and my teenage years through really clear lenses now versus lenses that I thought versus lenses given to me by society. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, why did I think XYZ? Well, I know why, but like, I think what I'm trying to say is I don't want to pass judgment on my young self. And I'm not even passing judgment on my 20s to now self. I'm just saying that that's what I'm trying to just start from there. And I've yo-yoed pretty much, like my whole adult life, and I don't know what normal weight fluctuation is. I know that there's some arbitrary, like, everyone fluctuates 5 or 10 pounds. Like, that's great. That's not what I did. When we were in Chicago, I got real fluffy because there was nothing to fucking do but eat because I was turning 40 and I could not drink all night. And I hadn't discovered the gift that is cannabis yet. And so the only fun that I had in my life was food. And in Chicago, it's like, welcome, bitch. These are the best donuts you'll ever have. These are the best fucking chicken wings you're ever going to have. Pizza, you might not like the deep dish. You want this steak? You want fucking vegan diner food? Like, whatever you want, girl, we got it. And it was like the only joy I had. And it's just so funny because I look back at pictures and I was like, damn, like, it wasn't no thing. But at the time, I really was just so full of shame. And the same thing happened after I had a kid. There was no joy. I couldn't breastfeed. I'm so sorry. I've talked about this so many fucking times. I'll keep it short. I couldn't breastfeed, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, blah, 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 blah. And again, food became like the one thing that I would look forward to, and it was fun and it was delicious, and these delivery apps had just dropped on the scene, so I didn't even need to like drive nowhere to get it. Dude. Anyway. And when Shannon says that when she's at a heavier weight, she feels heavier emotionally, I could relate to this. Absolutely. I wish I couldn't. But like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That's when they did the flashback to her trainer in 2017 when Shannon took her shirt off and her trainer just goes, okay, wow. Which was like, oh my God, this is the least
Orange County
person.
Trainer of all time.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. It's exactly that attitude. It was so gnarly. Oh.
Yeah. The other thing too is I don't hear cis het men of any ethnic background talking about how emotionally heavy they feel when they're physically heavier. I don't hear that at all. I hear like, oh, well, that's not true.
Yeah.
I did meet some. You're right. Yes, you're right. You're right. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that I did meet some cishet men in 12-step eating disorder rooms that did share that. It just seems like most of the men I know in my life are like, oh, I think I'm going to give up sugar for a week. And then they're like, oh, my jeans are too big. It's not like, I feel like a piece of fucking shit because I gained weight. No one should feel like a piece of fucking shit because they gained weight. But
yeah,
we did it to ourselves. We beat ourselves up. It's so insane.
It is, but it's also like what Shannon was saying, like when I am heavier, my state of mind is heavier too. It's like, it's not all patriarchy. Part of it is like my body exists. There's a weight for my body that will never be as thin as I want it to be, but it's fully functional. I can run with ease. I can enjoy my life. I can wear the clothes I want. And it's imperfect. But I know what that is. And when it expands beyond that, things get uncomfortable. And it does play on me mentally. And it's not about anyone's gaze. It's about me and how I carry myself through the world when I'm carrying extra weight with me. It's like,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yes. Anyways.
We head to dog walking.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had dog walking. Jesus Christ. I put down that Debtors Anonymous would have a lot to say about being a business owner and paying yourself last. But I don't know any business owners that get to pay themselves for a while.
They're Debtors Anonymous.
And then I got triggered when Tamra criticized her dog. Her dog was just being a fucking dog. Dogs eat shit. They literally eat literal shit. And calling him a weirdo was such a dick fucking move, dude. Like, your dog eating a piece of coyote shit is not a reflection on you, Tamra. They sniff butts and they lick their genitals, like, for fun.
And that dog looks like a puppy, didn't it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Not that it matters. It applies to all dogs.
Always look like puppies. They're just like sweet seals, sweet land seals. I love a pit bull. I just like, really, your dog, to me, it just reeked of her dog being a reflection of her. Weirdo. She's owned dogs the whole time we've known her on this show. It just made me really upset.
It's just classic Tamra, just like making everyone else's existence a problem so no one looks at hers.
Dogs pick up on that shit. Like, don't shame your fucking dog.
I know.
Pick up the shit. How about that? How about pick up the shit so that no one else's dog
to drop it?
Or say, no, that's not, we don't eat that. Yeah, exactly. Drop it. Jesus Christ. Do you have anything else to say about that stupid ass scene?
No. And then we head back to the photo.
Are you sure it's okay if you do?
No, I really don't. I just, that was the scene where my Alexis conspiracy theory sort of crystallized. And I was like, I think she's on the show. I love that theory. I think she's dating John Jansen just to be on the show. But then back at the photo shoot, Shannon tries to get us into the John Jansen gym drama. And the only thing that I thought was interesting was that apparently John Jansen lost his shit in the gym and like yelled at someone, which, like, can you think of anything more unnecessary than yelling? Even if you're offended that someone said sex in front of you and your girlfriend who talk about having sex 5 times a day, you don't have to yell. You just don't. He's such, again, this is my child of an alcoholic coming out of, like, you don't have to yell. Like, I didn't realize until I met other people's dads that, like, when people are dissatisfied, they can express that in like a calm and humane way. You don't have to yell. Anyways, he yelled. And then Alexis in the second line of glory in this episode, first being, as a woman in a casita, I thought she would understand.
Oh my God.
Alexis gives us, I'm never going back to that crap shack. Just telling her she's not going back to Shannon's gym. These idiots. Anyways.
They're like clapping Alexis. They're like, promise? Good. Bye. Orange Theory's down the street. Planet Fitness is around the corner.
Crap shack.
I don't fucking know.
She's so ridiculous.
She is. And then we move on to a scene that I was looking forward to, and it ended up being disappointing. Sutton, Katie, and Gina. Sutton disappointed me. You're all, it took this to disappoint you?
I just am on a hair trigger with that woman. She enters the scene with a loose dog. You're coming into a public space that serves food. That dog is going to piss on someone's table. It's going to jump and eat food. You know that Avi was somewhere chasing that thing around because we see the dog and then the dog disappears for the rest of lunch. So it's someone else's problem.
Interesting.
But it certainly wasn't on a fucking leash in a public place that serves food. Like, just why is Sutton so exceptional? Why does none of the rules fucking apply to her? She's late to lunch. She shows up with a dog
was
off
real
leash.
fucking cute.
It was,
and
but
everyone gives passes to Frenchies.
I know, except the person. If I was there and Evelyn was on a leash, what would happen was they would meet. Evelyn would be pissed off because she's on a leash and he's not. They'll get in a fight, and Sutton will be like, "Your dog's mean," and I'll be like, okay, if yours was on a leash, this would never have happened. But this is what I can't deal with people. Yes, your dog is cute. I know you think he's friendly, but they're animals. And so either dogs aren't allowed there. So she knew there would be no other dogs, but then she gets to be the exception because she gets to bring her off leash dog, or she just brought her off leash dog for Avi to chase down before it got into a vicious fight with some other animal. I just, Sutton.
I get it.
And then the first thing she does is order a Kettle One on the rocks. And I was like, okay.
I noticed, yes. And
Girl.
It's so funny. I noticed that she ordered the hot water with lemon first. Let's order the non-problematic, almost let's order a
cleanse drink.
A healthy tonic. Right, exactly. And then oh, you know what? Why don't we just tag on a Kettle One on the rocks? Why don't you just do that?
Crazy.
Did you notice that too? Or,
yes, because I heard the water with lemon and I was like, oh. And then she was like, and a Kettle One on the rocks. And I was like, oh, okay, here she is. There's our girl. Okay.
And then she's like, I love Heather. And I was like, really? Why? Tell me why, Sutton. Why do you love Heather? Because she has a lot of money, just like you? Is that why? Is that their only bond? Sutton's so much cooler.
I think
personality aside.
I mean, and
she's fucking cool. She's got her own sense of style, and
I liked her
she's
outfit.
got an interesting
really
life. I don't even remember what she wore, except for she wore shoes that were sensible for her feet. With her,
she wore in the wintertime, she was wearing these light color khaki pants and an open back white t-shirt, and then this big. I thought you would love it. This big pink fur coat, and I was like, yes,
it
yes,
was
yes,
adorable. Yes,
color, style, all of it great. But I think
waist up I liked, waist down wasn't a fan. But yes, yeah, you're right. I didn't.
But it was, to me, it was such a fuck you to Orange County. She was like, oh, I'm not going to wear a nice outfit to Orange County.
I'm not going to wear an Hermes H belt and some skin-tight jeans and a wedge. Tamra.
But I do think in this scene, I figured out what it is that bothers me in general about Sutton. And I think we don't share a value system. She values money above all else, to the point where when Katie explained everything that Heather did that was weird and inappropriate and unkind, Sutton just says oh, well, don't you cross her, because if you get, she'll. I was like, so you're just saying she has more money, so I don't care what you have to say. And Sutton said, she's like, I was texting with Heather on my way down here, and again, I was in a conspiracy theory mindset, and I was like, oh, Heather was saying, get all the information from Katie so I know why she's pissed at me, so I can work on my theory to cut her down to nothing. Because we see in a later episode that Heather's going where? What's the proof? Where's the proof? What did I do? I didn't do anything. And it's well, you got your recon, you got Sutton to do recon for you, and then you spent hours crafting your story that will make you seem like you have no fault in this when... she just sucks.
God.
I believe that she stared at Katie knowing full well who she was and was like, we're not
yeah,
on
she
camera
did.
yet. I don't care.
100%. Literally, I don't know if I'm going to bet my life. I'm not going to swear on anything holy to me, but I will say fuck yeah, you did. And I would tell her to her face. I would tell her to her face.
She knows.
Because I've met people like that.
Yes.
She sucks. Yeah, I wrote the note. I expected more from this scene. I was disappointed.
There you have it.
Emily's house. My first note is Annabelle is Shane.
Oh,
the way she answered. Just
do you
her
want some
mannerism,
soup?
The way
she's like, no.
Yeah,
because it's
no.
soup.
Yeah, why? Because it's soup. Yeah, exactly. So that's
she had a point. When there's Chick-fil-A and soup on the menu, it's I
allowed myself to try Chick-fil-A. I'm that asshole that's I I don't use Amazon and I don't shop at Whole Foods because Jeff Bezos is a dick. And like, I have my little boycotts here and there. And they're, it's okay. Like, I don't fault anybody else for doing what I choose not to do. But like, Chick-fil-A was one of them. I was like, I am not going to give money to these people. And I was telling my friend Lee, I'm like, damn it, a Chick-fil-A just opened up by the Target in Emeryville and everyone just shits their pants about Chick-fil-A. I want to know. She's like, girl, just try it one time. So I tried it one time. And I texted her. I was like, oh, I tried it. And she's like, did it taste like, what did she say? Anarcho-Christian. She was like, basically, like, did it taste like fucking people that hate gay people? And I was like, yeah, it was pretty fucking bad. I don't know why is it so popular? I thought I ordered like the OG and the fries, the OG sandwich and the fries. And the young man who helped me behind the counter was very nice. But I was like, this is what people shit their fucking pants about?
I mean,
I don't think it's good.
Next to a McNugget, it's like, it might as well be Michelin star. Dude,
I don't know.
I think their breakfast biscuit is one of the best things I've ever had in my life. And now that could be because I associate it with, my family's in Atlanta, home of Chick-fil-A. And whenever I'm there, I always have Chick-fil-A. So I might just associate it with being like with my family, my niece or nephews or whatever, because they love it. So, and I love them. And
it also might be that
combined.
When you're eating it at the epicenter,
maybe
it could very well be better. Like, I'm telling you, the further you get away from Nordstrom #1 in Seattle, the worse the Nordstrom gets.
You could be right. The lemonade's
Nordstrom
amazing.
here,
I don't know.
It's not Nordstrom up there, and my sister will back me up on that. Anyway,
but honestly, I think any
nobody called for
person under the age of 20, if you give them the option of soup or Chick-fil-A, I think they're all going to say Chick-fil-A.
You're right.
So I don't know what Emily was thinking, being like, you want some soup with like huge chunks of carrots in it? No.
Right.
But yes, I was a little disturbed because this is what happens. This is the insidiousness of an eating disorder. So Emily, she's like, I'm modeling a healthy lifestyle for my kids. And it's like, no, you're not. What your kids just did in the scene was report how much they have worked out and where and with whom. The son was like, I did it here. I worked out at home with you. And the girl was like, I worked out at the gym with mom and ate 3 hard-boiled eggs on my way home. That's how I used to live my days, is how much I worked out, how much I ate, doing the math of the calories and looking for evidence of how that was working out on my body, ribs or hips or whatever. And oh my God. Yeah. And then Emily shaming Shane for like, all he does is carry a big gulp around. He doesn't do anything. It's like, wow, like live and let live, buddy. Like it just is any outsized focus on any of that stuff. Neither one of you are healthy, as you both try to convince the other at the end. Emily is obsessed. Shane is, in a danger zone because he's in middle age now. And like, we do have to behave differently because our bodies are actively dying on a daily basis now.
Working out every day is not modeling a healthy lifestyle.
No. It's obsessive. And clearly she's missing out on time with the kids because in Shane's confessional, he says, I don't have time to be healthy because while Emily's at the gym, I'm doing family stuff. And I don't even think he meant it in a dickish way. It's just reality. If someone is gone all the time, someone else has to do the other things. I don't know. But I do,
Yeah.
They could both go 2 or 3 times a week and that would be lovely. But Emily's too scared to lose what she has. So she has to go every day. Or like Shane says, she feels disappointed if she doesn't go to the gym every day. That's not freedom. That's obsession.
That is my college eating disorder big time. When I carry fat-free ranch dressing to the fucking cafeteria at the dorm, or if I don't work out every day. Yeah. God damn it.
Completely arbitrarily in college, I decided that I would be okay if I ran a marathon every week. So if I ran 26 miles every week, arbitrarily, based on absolutely not a thing. And of course it didn't work because I was, drinking and acting out with food and acting out in all sorts of ways.
I mean, that's your body, dude.
But that's like, and it's all that weird math that's so fucked up. I remember there was a girl in my dance program who was like, had a beautiful body and it never changed. And I was like, how do you do that? And she's like, I eat 3 meals a day and I get 8 hours of sleep. And I was like, oh, fuck you. No, you don't. Shut up. That doesn't work. Cut to like, 10 years later when I was like, I guess what you do is you eat 3 meals a day and get some sleep. And like,
yeah.
But I wasn't ready to hear it till I was ready to hear it.
I know.
I wanted there to be a formula and an answer and a diet and a solution. And I wanted to get it right and ace the test. And, I wasn't done till I was done. So
Jesus Christ. Mortifying. We already talked about this with, Shane could be healthier and that, he's at the age where, I can relate to Emily having that conversation.
Well, it did sound scary because she reported he had like severe chest pains. And
that's right. That's true.
I'll never forget, like, I'm not a huge Shane fan, but when that man was in the hospital with COVID and it looked like he was one of those on the brink, that was terrifying. So, and it's again, an inflammatory illness and it affects your whole system is changed after you have a severe case. So I worry with Emily for him. I hope he does go see a doctor because his body went through something traumatic fighting that virus at that time. Anyways.
Yeah, dude, like once you're
terrifying.
done with the sniffles and once you're done being tired, I think people think that whatever they've gone through, that's it. Like, oh, there's no more mending that needs to happen. There's nothing else that's going to be related to this. And that's part of our like hustle culture and all that crap probably. But yeah, he does need to take care of himself. Everybody does. Jesus Christ. Yeah. We all do. We all need to rest more. But capitalism don't want you to.
Well, and you can't.
Anyway. And you can't, dude. Yes.
I mean, inflation, I don't know when
money and shit. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know when a
Shut
person...
me the fuck up, honestly.
No,
I'm sorry I said that. That was inappropriate.
No, it's not. Look, people in Europe rest all the time.
That's what I mean.
My niece is over there visiting and she's like, it's so sane. Like they have
that's
lunch
what I'm saying.
together every day and they take naps.
Thank you.
And like,
yes.
it's a good way to live a life as opposed to here
You're
where
right.
it's like, there's more inflation. I need to take on more hours and do more side jobs and it's just too crazy.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's what I meant. Like the fact that you get 6 weeks of paid vacation in Europe, you get like time to eat lunch. You get, like the weekends, people aren't glued to their fucking phones. Like,
and that everyone
yes,
honors
that's what
that.
I meant. Yeah.
It's not like, because here it's like you get those things, you get paid time off, but if you show up to work on those days, people are like, yeah, that girl's really putting in her time. It's like, oh my God.
Or if you answer an email when you're on vacation.
Oh, what a hero.
Exactly. Gross.
Crazy.
Do you have anything else on Shane and Emily, or should we move on to Gina and Travis, where the Oscar for the worst acting, but yes, you're acting, because I don't believe shit you're saying in this scene, goes to Gina K.
Yeah, she's ridiculous.
Something's off. She's not convincing me at all. An actress, she is not. A seasoned housewife, she is not in this area. She's not being genuine in this scene at all.
No. Yeah, she's crying and it's falling so flat. She's trying to pretend like she's questioning this decision when her energy reads impatient for him to get out and relieved once he's gone. And in her confessional, she said everything that I ever need to know about her. And, I applaud her for making a decision. And in a rare moment, I'm going to pass judgment on it. She said, I'm choosing myself and my 3 kids over our family as a whole. So you put together for 4.5 years of family, you put together a 6-kid family, and you've made a little extra cash. And now you want to take 3 of those 6 kids on vacation, and you want 3 of those 6 kids to have more space. And you want to remove the other 3 and send them into a new space. It broke my heart when Travis said goodbye to the dog, because I was like, the dog? His 3 kids now also lose a dog. And when you're in an unstable family, a pet is fucking everything. Like Gina has done something really dramatic, which is why her crying and being like, what if it's a mistake? It's like, you don't care. You're not trying to avoid heartbreak. It's all about money. You have more money than him and you want to spend your money. And he helped you through so much shit. And now that his divorce is ongoing, you'd have no time for it.
I still feel like there are a lot of holes in Travis's story, but I don't care about Gina. I don't care about Travis. I care about 6 children who have had some very formative years together.
And Travis
being torn apart.
Exactly. Because Travis, to his credit, shut her the fuck down when she was like, well, the kids need more space. And he's like, you need to stop saying this is about the kids, because they would prefer to stay all together here under one roof as one unit.
Absolutely.
I don't disagree with them. And you know that's the truth. This is your decision. You're kicking me and my 3 kids out because we're not rich enough to live the life that you now want to live. And that's fine. Like, that's a decision she's allowed to make. But for her to try and get away with it without having anyone look sideways is just a joke to me.
Dude, I know.
Live your life. It's your money. They're your kids. But like,
I agree.
Don't be surprised when they resent you down the line, because it's traumatic what you're doing to them. Maybe not to you, but to them.
I can only go on what I know about Travis from what people have shared on Reddit. He's not signing the divorce papers. But
we don't know what that's about. It's probably
we don't
custody.
know, right.
And also, he stayed with Gina while her husband she debated whether or not to give a victim statement after her husband beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
He gave those kids something stable, and she can't be bothered to, like, what divorce takes 10 minutes? I don't know anyone who's just been like, I'm ready to get divorced, and they're divorced. Like, it's endless shit, you know? And maybe he's not signing the paperwork, but like, support him through that. Like, what is a partnership anymore? She is so disappointing.
I just can't believe.
There are 6 children that she involved. She did that. And that's what they're going to resent her for down the line. You forced us to blend. You forced us to blend. You forced us to have a co-parenting thing where it was fine when Matt came over to be with Travis, and all the kids are absorbing all of the emotional aftershock of that shit. And then all of a sudden one day she's like, oh, I'm good at real estate now, and I want to take you guys on vacation, but I don't want to take those other bastards. I can take 3 kids on vacation,
but I can't take everyone on vacation.
Or you could take everyone on a less impressive vacation, like most people fucking do. And no kid cares about it. Our parents took us, our fighting ass parents, when they were flush for a spell. And then, of course, my dad lost everything because he's a moron. Well, whatever. Things happened. Anyways, we were flush for a minute. They took us to the Loire Valley in France. You could have put my sister and me in any hotel room anywhere. We didn't know what we were looking at. Versailles was like hot and annoying. It was too big, and the gardens were like, we get it. You know, like, a kid doesn't care.
They
Take
don't
him
give
to
a
fucking
shit.
Morongo. They'll be fine.
Honestly, there's a pool. They're totally fine.
And we would have been happier. I was always happier to go on vacations with my friends in functional families, because whatever they did, it was just like chill and fun. And like, I hate camping, but I went camping with one of my friends and her family, and I was like, cool, because everyone had an actual good time. An actual good time. Anyways, I'm so mad at Gina. I really should look into what is going on with me.
It's because, you know what it is? Children are collateral fucking damage instead of being respected members of a family whose feelings about a situation should be taken into consideration.
It's abandonment.
That is what's so triggering.
Yeah, because she's like, I got what I want now, and now I'm leaving. And I don't care about you guys.
For life. I'm sorry. She's
her
scarring
kids
these
and
kids.
His. Because they'll see this and they'll hear her say, I'm choosing myself and my 3 kids over our family. I'm choosing that, which is basically saying, I don't choose you. As a kid, that's what you hear.
Yeah. I don't even think I don't even remember what I was going to say. Jesus, sorry.
No,
but yes, no, it's not your fault.
Yes,
it's not your fault.
I'm steamrolling because I'm like weirdly so angry with Gina.
But it makes sense. As kids who are not taken seriously and not given any kind of respect or have our peoplehood acknowledged or valued, when I see people do it, I just am in so much pain. I project so fucking much. How can we not project onto this? It's terrible. It's terrible. Unless I'm missing something that I'm like in the bigger picture that I'm not seeing. And I'm all for people wanting to live their truth and do what they feel is right for themselves. And if Gina really thinks that this is the best and most loving thing, I just don't think that she does.
I wish, like you're saying, that she would just tell the truth. I wish she would just say, like, I feel horrible about this. Travis got me through one of the hardest times in my life, but this is not a long-term match for me. And I know that it's going to hurt the kids, but like, it's just, it's not going to go the distance. So I gotta cut ties now, and it sucks and it's mean and I hate it. But instead she's like, I have to, so they have more space. Actually, it's because you're ex-wife. Actually, it's because I have money. Actually, it's because, it's like, what is it because? I don't know what, the lying is probably what I'm most offended by. It's just like, what's the truth? Just tell the truth.
So, like, let me ask you a question. When wise people say, or when the spiritual books say, or when every therapist says, like, people are doing their best, it's this kind of a situation where I feel like they're not doing their best. How is she doing her best?
I think she could do better by just being completely honest and just saying, I've lived with men my whole life. I finally have an opportunity to be independent, and I want to take it. And I understand that that's going to come with a lot of backlash. And maybe it's like you're saying, as a kid, if someone had just told me the fucking truth ever, instead of being like, everything's fine, your father loves you, he's just never here. And if that's confusing to you, then that's on you. It's like, well, okay, then I guess I'll just go act out in really weird ways to try and figure out what it means to like have someone love you and also never be there or only be mean to you when they are. Like, you know, it's always back to like lying. Yeah, I just get so upset about that. But I was in a 12-step meeting this morning where someone was talking about how addicts lie as a way of wishing. Like what they're really saying is like, I wish this were true. And I was like,
damn.
That really like reframed a lot of shit for me in that like one little moment. I was like, oh, I think that is what was going on. I think they hated what was true. And so they tried to wish this thing into existence. And like you said, I was just collateral damage in the fantasy of like, I had to play along, otherwise I wasn't safe. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Lying, man. That'll always, that will be a lifelong thing for me. I don't understand people who lie with ease. I don't understand people who know they're lying and just want to say the lie and then have it be over with, even though everyone in the room knows it's not true. It makes me so itchy. I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate what she's doing. And I fully am projecting, but like, it's only because they're not going to be like, oh, great, these people are their family. It's been 4 years.
And how are those 3 kids going to enjoy vacation when they're like, sweet, we're on this fancy vacation, but those other 3 people we lived with for almost 5 years don't get to do anything.
Think about it. I'm sick.
I'm
sick to my fucking stomach.
Ugh.
Anyways,
what else did you watch this week?
I can't remember anything I watched this week other than I've gone back. I think I've shared I've started watching Summer House from the beginning, and I'm almost at the end of season 2. And Carl 1.0 was a fucking nightmare. And I don't think that I obviously I have to watch what was season 8 was the one that just ended, right? Was that season 8?
That sounds right.
So season 2 and season 1 Kyle, pretty much the same as season 8 Kyle. And I haven't even gotten to the season where he cheats on Amanda. And I cannot understand the appeal of that man. I do not understand it. I think that Amanda can do so much better. I just don't fucking get it. I just think it's gross. I love Steven. I don't know where Steven went. I want to watch and see what happens to Steven. No spoilers. And I have to admit, I really like that Lauren gal. I've been hung up on a Carl once or twice before in my life and tried to be like, what? It's no big deal. I can totally be casual. Yeah. And then like, oh my God, you fucking made me think that you really liked me, And so I don't know. I like Lauren. Lindsay also. I see Lindsay 1.0 with Everett. I see Lindsay 1.0 without Everett. And I see Lindsay 1.0 season 8. I don't know if she's going to have any transitions, but all I know is that I just stopped watching season 8 and watched season 1. I'm all, she the same.
Yeah, she's the same.
So
yeah,
I don't remember what else I watched. I don't remember what else.
I watched
How about you?
The Bachelorette and
oh yeah, that yes, I did watch that.
But I did like this episode because this is where a former fat kid stood up to the bullies. That kid, Devin. Oh God, I hope I'm getting his name right. Okay, Devin.
Yeah, you are.
And then there's two other boys, like that Aryan asshole cowboy from North Carolina guy. And then
Sam.
Thomas, who is just like weirdly under his spell, like just sidekick extraordinaire. And they're so mean. And then this former fat kid who I know nobody likes him either, but I just thought it was a moment in time that I haven't seen on these shows.
Yep.
To see this kid expose his whole body on TV and then afterwards explain to her like that was kind of a revolutionary moment because I come from and I was like, this is unusual and valuable. And I liked that. And I thought, I don't think Jen is like looking for a husband. So I'm really just watching this as like, again, like I watch all reality shows. It's a sociology class. I'm just watching people behave and I find it interesting. And I thought that piece of it was good. And then I also watched Dirty Pop, the Lou Pearlman boy band documentary. And it's so interesting, I thought, to see these men, old men, our teenage heartthrobs are now old men, reflecting on that period in their life. And this horrible entertainment industry conundrum of like, if you don't take the bullshit offer from the disgusting pig, you have no entry into this industry. The only way anybody got famous was to work with this monster and eventually break away. But like, it's so interesting to see them to this day be so conflicted about like, we owe everything to him and he stole everything from other people. And how do you reconcile that? You spend a lifetime not being able to is how. So it's fascinating, I thought.
No, you're right. Josh actually watched that without me, and I was really proud of him because but like he's the first one to tell me when I'm watching something that we're watching together and he's going to bed, I'm all, he's all, just watch it. It's all right. Just like, you can continue. So I came out and he was watching it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Because I didn't know it was only 3 episodes. And so it was over. But now I'll have something to watch. It's fine. Because I had the shingles vaccine on Friday and it knocked me the fuck out. And so he was left on his own for his own TV watching, devices. Because I was just asleep for 24 hours trying to not be feverish and chillish. And so I was really glad he got to watch it. And I really want to watch it too. And I mean, he's been in the music industry. He was a professional musician. He was signed on a major label. And when they went to the major label, that's when shit kind of hit the fan. And it was like a lot of issues come from it because it can be a real sleazy outfit. And so he really thought it was interesting. And I can't wait. I only watched like part of episode 1. But yeah, I need to watch that.
There's like an AI element that I really could have done without. But
it
other
was
than that,
weird. Yeah.
I just don't know why bother.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It does nothing for me. It looks like the Hall of Presidents. It's not impressive.
Oh my God.
If it's not him talking, like, I just don't care. They animate Lou Pearlman with AI. They use his recording from his book on tape and put it on the same image of him sitting at like, I was just like, I'm not impressed. This just feels weird. And it took me out every time. And anyways, that's my only criticism. The rest of it I found really interesting. And what was your antidepressant?
It was really, Leo didn't have camp last week. So I came up with Camp Mama and we were going to go do things that, would be fun for the week he's not in camp. Yeah, so I took him to race his remote control car at this hobby shop down in San Jose that has a huge drift track set up. So he was the only one on the track, like drifting his remote control Toyota Celica. let's see. I was able to fit in a ketamine session at home last week. It's just the little things right now are making me really stoked. My family's happy and healthy, and I'm really glad, and we got to like get in some pool time while it was hot. And I get to go visit my sister and my mom and my friends up in Portland on Friday. And that, just like looking forward to it, is making me feel really good. And, it's just the little things are making me really pumped right now. Yeah. Yeah. How about you, friend?
That's what it's all about. It's the same. My family is my antidepressant this week. Like we had really my sister and I were kind of in a position to unite against a common enemy this week. My dad's wife, who he married 15 years ago. So we were all like full adults when she came on the scene, and she's just, an unkind character. But I just was so proud of my sister and how she handled a situation with this woman. And I've said it a few times during the podcast, you'll be done when you're done. And my sister was in a work situation a year ago, and she'd been in it for many years prior to that. But a year ago, I was there to like witness the you'll be done when you're done moment. She called me from a specific moment in time on this job, and I could just hear it. I was like, oh, she's done. And the transformation that has occurred in a year's time for my sister is, it's like inspiring and revolutionary. And we have a lot on our plates right now. We have 2 aging parents in various stages of decline, and it's a very stressful situation. And for a period of time, it created distance between us. And weirdly, my dad's, whatever. I have opinions about her, my dad's wife.
I have opinions about her, and I haven't ever met her. I wouldn't recognize her on the street.
She's a ridiculous person. But we got to be on the phone a lot. We got to laugh a lot. And one of my favorite moments was my sister had taken her 2 sons to visit my dad. His wife was not present for the visit. And when I was on the phone with my sister, something about how she is when she talks on the phone with me drew one of her sons out. And he's like, is that Aunt Margee? So something about how Caroline talks on the phone with me alerts her kids to the fact that it's me. And I got to talk to my littlest nephew, he's 14. He's like so grown, and his voice is low. Like, I don't know why I even say little. He's a whole adult person. But it was just so lovely, that moment. Like, it just felt like, even though I wasn't there, it just felt like a little family gathering of like, I got to laugh with my sister. That made my nephew wonder, like, is that Aunt Margee? We got to talk on the phone for a little while. I just love this kid. I love my niece and nephews like so hard. I'm so lucky. And it's like you're saying, it's the little things, but they're huge. Like, to hear my nephew say, and I prompted him, of course, because I'm a crazy aunt. I was like, I miss you. And he's like, I miss you too. And I was like, I love you. And he said, I love you, Aunt Margee. Like, just to hear them. You can't imagine. Like, it is literally so like full sweet Grinch moment of like, my heart just expands and becomes my whole body. I'm just like, yes. And these are teenagers. I didn't want to talk to anyone when I was a teenager. So anyways, it was just like delightful to have like some good laughs with my sister on a weekend that was real stressful, could have been only stressful for her. And that a year or so ago, she wouldn't have been available for that because she was so stressed out. And she made a decision a year ago, and she changed her life. And I love her kids, and I've been rambling for a long time, but you get it.
No, I'm really happy. I'm really happy to hear all of this. I love it. And I think if your nephew didn't want to say those things, he would have been like, same, instead of like, I love you too, Aunt Margee.
They're also really expressive, and they have every reason to be guarded with their feelings, but all 3 of them are these just incredible, and I won't tell their stories because, 2 of them are over 18, but they're their stories to tell. They're just incredibly expressive, like just... I'm just in awe of like who they are and how they move through their lives and through this world and through their challenges and through their joys. Like, it's just so, thank God, it's so different from what we did. And I feel like that is the ultimate success of my sister's parenting is like, and my brother-in-law, he contributed as well. But like, there's something radically different in these kids that I'm just so proud of and happy for. And anyways,
I love that.
Me too.
I do. And I'm sorry. I think that they see you, they know you. And so that's why that they know that you're on their side.
I hope
and that helps them too.
Yeah.
You know,
Always.
I know it. It has to.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we did it. We're like a little over an hour and a half, but that's not that bad.
No,
yeah,
for a
it's
flag
not
football
close to
episode.
2. Exactly.
We kept it right-sized.
Everyone, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Hope you like the new logo and that you're finding it in your feed as easily as you found our Walgreens pill bottle, which RIP to the Walgreens pill bottle.
RIP.
I love that little motherfucker. Yeah. And yeah, just take really good care of yourself this week. Don't get obsessive about nothing if you can help it. And if you do, have some compassion for yourself. I'm going to take that too. Got to be easy. Got to be easy with your sweet selves, you know? We'll talk next week, y'all. All right. Bye.
Ramona and Margee are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.